All right, Buffs fans, college football fans, I know some of you are going to get a kick out of me changing my opinion. That's right. Just like I talked about a couple months ago doing a video on conference realignment, the Pac-12 media deal, CU's place in it, all of that, I reserve the right to change my opinion. And as time has gone on, I think I found myself changing my opinion. I think CU's best move right now is to move to the Big 12. And I'm going to break that down a little bit, how I went from being more on the side of back the pack towards, you know what, now I think that it's best that CU probably leaves, and why I would assume and why I would expect that if a team does move out of the Pac-12, I think CU is going to be the first one to do it. I haven't done a video on conference realignment for a couple reasons over the last couple months. One, I've just been burnt out by it. Seems like there's constant news, constant rumors, and I'm not going to be somebody that's just on here talking about the next rumor with the conference realignment and all of that, because we know that 99% of these things never happen. And there's conflicting reports all the time. Is ESPN interested? Is ESPN not interested? I mean, we get the same reports and conflicting information all the time. Secondly, it seems like talking conference realignment, Big 12, Pac-12, some of these other conferences, sometimes it feels as heated as political discussions, and I'm just not interested in that. This channel is all about good vibes, enjoying college football, enjoying the Buffs, and I'm not really here to get into arguments about the liberal agenda ruining college football. I don't really care to have that discussion or anything like that. So how did I get to this opinion that CU is better off moving to the Big 12 right now and probably being the first mover? I think a lot of this has to do with how I've seen the program move over the last few months and seeing how invested the institution is around Coach Prime, making him the star of the show. And they don't want the star of the show to be stuck on streaming. Regardless of how you feel about streaming, I don't think they want that. I mean, you saw on ESPN that they were the highest rated spring game on ESPN in like 6 or 7 years. That's great to see. They had over 500,000 viewers on TV. As you saw, the spring game was packed. It was a lot of fun. Go check out my video if you want my breakdown of that. And I think that's why you've seen like some of the reports talking about how Oregon, a couple other schools, and CU are the biggest proponents against the Pac-12 doing a streaming-led deal, is because Coach Prime wants to be on linear television. He wants to be easy access for everybody's eyeballs. We want this program to be easily seen, and I think that's the priority that the university is taking right now, and that's how I feel. Is doesn't matter if there's a difference of a few $1,000,000 or so, if that. The eyeballs, the accessibility is more important right now for this program to consistently have eyes on them than having difficulty with people in the central and eastern time zones getting on streaming to watch these to watch the Buffs, because it is going to be a little bit more of a challenge. I think in college football, and this is why you saw USC, UCLA leave as well, the big money in the Big 10, of course. But a lot of reasons that money is big in the Big 10 is because the money and the eyeballs come when you're playing teams in the central and eastern time zones. We see that there's an issue when the Pac-12 is having to start games late at night, why they've considered 7:15 Pacific time AM kickoffs on Saturdays, because their games are just not easily viewable a lot of times for the majority of the country. And I think if CU wants to stay relevant, regardless of who their coach is, they need to be put in a place where they're playing teams consistently in the central and eastern time zone. Of course, the Big 12 meets those qualifications. I think a partnership between Brett Yormark and Coach Prime would be must-see TV and extremely interesting, because they are both showmen. They're both people who think outside the box, people that aren't constrained by what's been quote-unquote normal or accepted. They're people that break kind of a tradition in some ways. And I don't have much to say about this other than that I feel like they would make a powerful promoting team, not only for CU, which is what I want, but for the Big 12 conference as a whole. As much as I would love CU to rejoin Nebraska, have that rivalry every year, and be a part of a bigger Big 10, maybe a 20-team Big 10 conference, there is no smoke to that. And I think the likelihood of that in any time soon within the next 5 years is probably slim to none. Same with the SEC. They're getting 2 schools already that they got to integrate in there with Texas and OU. And as much as I would love to be part of those conferences, doesn't really seem to me that it's realistic that they would expand at all within the next 5 years. So let's go to the Big 12 and let's see how that goes. If we can rise up to being one of the top teams in that conference after some time, that would put us on the board possibly to be a potential expansion candidate for one of those Big 2 conferences. But I think for right now, we can't look too far ahead with that. Right now, we need to be focused on making sure that we're making most of this Coach Prime era, regardless of how long it lasts or goes for. We need to be taking advantage of that, making sure that there are eyes on this program all the time, easily. So I think that's why I've changed my opinion. Now, a lot of what I talked about was the academics and the research funding and all of that CU gets being part of the Pac-12, which is great. However, there seems to be, and this is just my pulse on things, that there is a shift in priority, that the football program needs to be the primary investment for this university to continue to grow and to flourish. So we're not going to lose our AAU status out of this or anything like that. And I think it would be ideal if we had a school like Utah come with us, or maybe some of those Arizona schools. I mean, that would be cool too. Would be nice to have another team within the Mountain Time Zone. But that's my thoughts on this. Again, this is a drastic change of opinion than what I had 2.5 months ago, but as I've seen this program grow, it doesn't make sense for us to stand pat, wait it out, and just see what happens in the Pac-12, or the Pac-10 over the next 5 years, because I think at that point that might be the last end of that conference, or of the Pac-12 conference. So I want to know what you think. What do you think CU should do? I know this might upset some of the few Pac-12 hopeful that have been in my channel. I still want to back the Pac, but it just doesn't seem good from here. And I've been an optimist when it has come to this situation with the Pac-12 media deal. So let me know what you think. I appreciate your engagement, and Sco Buffs.